Today's reading talks about the Pharisees trying to trick up Jesus. They give him a Roman coin and ask him, to whom should he pay it? Is it lawful to pay taxes? I have a couple old ancient coins with me today. And if you take a look at them, you can kind of see what Jesus might have been looking at. And they look very much like coins we would have in our own pockets, with the face of somebody on it and some markings of that government. As you can tell, with these coins and the ones in your pockets, nothing much has really changed. We still have the same unspoken question, though, with this gospel we heard today. And that question is, what belongs to God? Jesus tells us in this passage that we should repay to Caesar what is Caesar's. But he doesn't really say what belongs to God. We can imply a few things, though. First, Jesus bases his wisdom on an image, the image of Caesar on the coin. Now, if I asked you whose image and likeness were I made in, what would you say? You'd say God. Yes, and all the saints, all the prophets have echoed that through the centuries. We totally belong to God. But does everyone believe this? Does everyone know it? Do we? The prophet Isaiah is what we have for the first reading today, and he gives us a certain message from God. It says, I have called you by your name, giving you a title, though you knew me not. God recognizes his image in us and his unique gift to us. The question for us is, how do we identify that which we are uniquely called to? It comes down to freedom. Good old holy freedom. First, just as Jesus is not burdened by Roman coins, we need to detach from what may be making a claim on how or why we live our life. Status, power, money, fame, all those different things, these can mold us into something very different than the intended image God planted upon us. They can deface us. Stillness, silence, prayer, faith, hope, and love, these define us. Freedom allows us to ask the questions. And one of those questions is, how much of a claim does God have on my life? And we can answer that either way we choose. I think the reason we ought to choose God is pretty simple. His return policy is very forgiving. If I fail at pursuing money, if I fail at pursuing power, then I'm poor and I'm powerless. And status and power, fame, they're not going to come back to try and assist me and bring me back into their elite rungs of power. If I fail in faith and hope and love, God still sees the image that he made me in. And God reaffirms it, absolving how I have defaced it. In a sense, Jesus bailed us out. Now, we have to answer the question, how much of a claim does God have on our life? What has been your answer this past week? Was God's image defaced or defined? Blessed be God forever.